We won't skip a beat, dive right back in on Drumpf. So, like I've said in past videos, and you should go back to them for 5 years, been dropping this kind of stuff about Trump and telling people who he really is, and not just saying it or repeating that I seen someone else speaking about it. I'm breaking down symbols and the signs, and I'm showing you who he is. Over and over. Go back to those old videos. So, I've shown before in the gematria of the shooter, you know, Trump's ear that seems to heal like a lizard's tail, probably faster. That would make sense, huh? So when we look at the gematria though, first of all, on gematria, how funny is that? Look at the flag in between the United States and Iran. That's symbolism right there. Thomas Matthew Crooks. Now, the gematria on his name, oddly enough, coincidentally enough, lines up with a lot of interesting things. I'll bring it to your attention again. So, Thomas Matthew Crooks in Jewish lines up with sparks will fly. That in itself interesting. Pretty interesting. Atmosphere went pink. Also interesting. And you could say, dude, you could go through these and find ones that don't match. Yeah, true. The only thing is when you see it over and over with world stage and world stage characters and things like that, it paints a picture. It tells a story. You just got to pay attention to it. So let's go down here. Again, shooter name, Thomas Matthew Crooks. In Jewish, 1706, lines up with Donald Event Horizon. Now, would you call that strike of luck? Random? Not me. And now we'll fast forward to the other shooting, so-called. You know, the guy that stormed in, past agents, past the security. This guy. You know, when it happened, again, I haven't been able to make a video, but best believe I'm always doing what I do. Now, when it happened, I was like, look, because we know about Thomas Matthew and how it all lines up. So I said, now let's see this other dude. What's his name? Cole Thomas Allen. The 3 first name thing again. Throughout history, they do that a lot, it seems, when it's connected to the you-know-whos. Now, Cole Thomas Allen has some interesting gematria attached to his name too, especially if we were in the Matrix and everything is pre-planned by the ones in control of it. First of all, interesting, it lines up with, or the name lines up with Age of Deception. And then in English, it lines up with 888. I'll show you what else lines up with 888. Lines up with Tristan Tate, Jacob Rothschild. Oddly enough, because you remember that around that time of this shooting, what else was big in the news, and still is obviously, but I mean it was peaking pretty good at that time, Epstein Island. 882 lines up with Epstein Island. And then when you scroll down, it also lines up with the Trump card. Now again, you could say, dude, it lines up with Kyrie Irving, Netflix login, like having the Trump card on it, that's just pure coincidence. Well again, let's go back to the other shooter, Thomas Matthew Crooks, lines up with Donald Event Horizon. And then we go over to this shooter, his name lines up with the Trump card. Now you already know, in the Illuminati deck, Trump's in there, 3 times? So I find this synchronicity not coincidence. Alright, so I should have did this a year ago, right when it happened, because I looked into it right then. I just, have a lot going on these last so many months. So I have some stuff that, even though a year went by, I haven't noticed anyone else notice these couple little details about the Kirk thing. Number one, I think it was the mic, and that, if you were just asking my opinion, I think they really did take him out. And I'm going to show you a few simple ways where it was pre-planned. It was written in the codes of the Matrix and the world stage. In my opinion, that's what we got to say, huh? Now, was that predictive programming? Do you remember Sorry Charlie from back in the day? Red hat on? I'm sure it's nothing. Stop, Will. You've been diving too long. You're a conspiracy theorist. Again, he was part of the club. So is, the one that sells her merchandise hidden in plain sight in front of your face. CIA hats. Of course, she twists it and says it means Candace Intelligence Agency. But back to it. So, did you know this about Charlie's dad? Let's read this real quick. Charlie Kirk appeared to be the only big political figure in his family. According to NBC News, his mother was a mental health counselor. Meanwhile, his father was an architect. You guessed it if you were trying to guess it. Whose firm designed the Trump Tower in New York City. So there's a deep connection beyond Charlie getting involved with Trump and political figures and all that. I'm sure that's just coincidence, huh? His dad ends up being the one that built the Trump Towers. Again, you know type of thing. These are Masonic hand gestures. Yeah, they could be other things. They could be meditation, balancing the energy in your body or whatnot. That's not what we're doing on this pose. You've seen it. I could show you a million of them doing that. And I'm sure over this last year, this had to be pointed out by now. The lightning bolt on each side, it's the SS. But also when you put those two together as a cross, it basically looks like the swastika as well. American comeback. Remember from one of my old videos, like Rika means to rule. And you got that Rika in or at the end of a lot of like countries and whatnot. Or, different places. So again, those lightning bolts have several different meanings. Two lightning bolts side by side could represent the dual currents, positive, negative, left, right, pillar, or also, the Kabbalah tree. And magic, sigil magic, could mean the sun, victory, power, or they say doubling it amplifies the energy. And that's why the Nazis use it, or occultists. Just to point that out. Anyways, this guy clearly CI ass because that's what he made out of himself. At least when I seen it, you could tell he was an agent. I've seen too many movies. You can't, the way they tried to run it, I seen these type of movies when I was a kid, and I would always wonder, like, damn, how did they know? This is before I knew Hollywood and it's all connected to the bloodlines and all that, and it's one big machine. I would wonder, how do they know so much about CIA and the different agencies and how they run operations, and they have 10 different things going at once to confuse you? Like, I think I told you about one of my favorite movies back in the day was Double Take with Eddie Griffin. It's a pretty deep movie because when you watch it for the first time, you don't know what's going on. I mean, they do that good of a job trying to play who's who, who's the agent, who's good, who's bad, all the layers of operations running. It just lets you know, like, how crazy they could get and how detailed, like, operations could be. So my question, last year when I was looking into it was, who funds Charlie? Who funded the whole operation? Because again, when they trend you online and you go viral, so to speak, that doesn't happen unless it's allowed to happen. It's governed, what I'm trying to say. Like, if my music, for instance, I've been making music a long time, I feel like my music's excellent, great. Matter of fact, I'll put the link below because I've been starting to get it all on Spotify slowly. Not all, I have like 4 or 5 albums, but 2, 3 of them brand new that I'm slowly getting on there. Anyway, I always wondered, how did, you hear dumb stuff go viral. How does none of this ever, spread around that much? And, or knowledge for the most part. Everything's governed. So again, my question was, where did he get all the money from? You think it's the usual suspects? Like, especially he's throwing the Masonic symbol. If you know, he's letting you know, signaling who he's affiliated with. Let's see. Turning Point USA's filings show that among the largest contributions are from conduits used to mask the identity of donors, including Vanguard, Schwab, so we know who Schwab is, Charles Schwab, or Klaus Schwab. That tells you right there who controls them. Now, if you went against the grain, maybe, or again, if the so-called wife was set up from the beginning to, honeypot, they call it. I think that's exactly what it is. Anyway, I just wanted to show you, because again, I haven't seen anyone go over this, to show you it comes down to the bloodlines, again, that run the world. These are the ones that own the banking systems and these big names, Vanguard, Schwab, the Black Suns. If you're watching my old videos, if you haven't, go through all of them. I've actually been wanting to go back now that I'm getting past some stuff. I'm going to start going back watching some of my old stuff too. So moving on past that, I wanted to show you the layout of where the event went down, or the ritual. And again, it's pre-planned out. Now, does that not look a lot like that? And they got him right in the center, all for ritual. And the other thing is, the state where the event was, let's take a look at what their state flag, what the symbol is. Just idea popped in my head. Like, let me see what their state flag, I don't remember ever looking at it. That's right. Well, you see a honeycomb, but me, I see a dome inside the cube, the black cube of Saturn, the hexagram. This is also Israel's symbol, or the Rothschild symbol, because the hexagram is the 6-point star. When you're looking at the 6-point star, it's also a 3D image of the cube. So, not only they have the stage, looks like Mossad's logo, the state it was in, on their state flag, it's the cube, the hexagram. It's all coincidence, I know. And you know a lot about the cube, you understand it's Mecca. It's also the shape of Elon's little Starlink for your brain. It's also in the Satanic Temple. They got a black cube as well. This is all coincidence. They just all like black cubes, okay? Back off. Back off. And again, OpenAI, when you're looking at especially all the symbolism and logos from, you know, the world stage corporate logos, you gotta look at the sacred geometry of it, the patterns inside the patterns. That's all you gotta say to people to wake them up to logos and symbolism, because, I mean, our brains are designed to see it. We just have to wake it up inside of us. Now when you, again, that's Israel's flag, yes, but the Rothschilds designed and funded Israel. That's why you'll see the Rothschilds' coat of arms is the hexagram, the star of Remphan, the cube. You'll see the lion in the center. Just like here on crypto, what do you have? The cube with the lion. This is pure symbolism that lets you know who's who. I mean, it's easy. And who owns who, or what. Like I say, the most important thing for me is studying the symbolism. And now, when you look up the gematria of Charlie Kirk, this is what seals the deal for me. Because what's the odds that the numerology will line up? First, Alex Jones, well, it lines up with Neuralink. It lines up with Alex Jones because he's the one supposedly broke the story. It's a simulation. All these connections through gematria over and over again. If you think that's a coincidence, then I don't even know what to tell you. Because again, coincidence and coincide is basically the same word, changing 2 letters at the end. Now, this will tell you that it's scripted. So, what day did it happen? September 10th. They didn't do it on the day for ritual purposes. They did the day before. His name lines up with 9/11. So written in the code of the Matrix, and they do everything right down to alignments and gematria and numerology. What's the odds, everyone, that Charlie's name will line up with this 9/11 Alex Jones? You know, a big part of the psyop, especially since COVID, was to wean out all the, you know, the average Joes, if you want to call it, people like myself, or, you know, people that are not attached to the system, and start placing in their guys from all different fields, but all, you know, mainstream world stage, like UFC fighters, actors, comedians everywhere, all suddenly truthers and are awake. Won't say too much. The thing is, if you ever listen to them, they're never really going to say, they're going to say things that you resonate with, of course, but they're never going to say things that are like mind-blowing to you that you haven't already heard or read or studied yourself. And they're taking money, getting donations all day, getting paid on the channels, you know. It's so you got to be careful who you follow, who you listen to for info. You don't even need them. That's just the thing, you know. They entered in all their agents, and they know that, like, the common person, or especially if they're newly awake or searching info, you're way more likely going to go run to, you know, an actor or a comedian that's real famous world stage, over a regular guy, you know, with a couple thousand followers or subs. And they know that, and they're taking advantage of it. See, I'll show you something else too, because no matter how you slice it, there's still a connection. So type in Charlie Kirk shooting. Another coincidence here, I guess, that it also adds up to Donald Trump. And the storm is coming. Now you want to type in, say, all right, well, that was another coincidence, Charlie Kirk shooting. Even though that's like the third or fourth one, and it's all tied in. Let's just type in now, and there's no way there's any connection to Trump in this one. Let's type in Charlie Kirk assassination. Oh, this doesn't count, does it? And the Trump shall sound. Now, what's the odds that you can go several different ways with it in the gematria, and it keeps tying in to Trump? Things ain't what you thought they supposed to be. Mirrors crack when you look too deep. Truth don't shine, it just slowly leaves through the scenes of reality. Looking at you, all I'm seeing is hollow. Realizing the lies in your eyes, that's a hard pill to swallow. Used to be gasping, no gas mask, now I'm laughing. In the left lane, oh, that shit wasn't right, so I'm passing. Like ether on the rag, you passing out. I'm trying to teach it, though I'm still a student. The Ruger could reach it, the Reaper will meet you. More souls than sneakers, don't trust no hoe, love is evil. The bite from the snake in the garden is lethal. And it's a weapon, better learn your lesson. Watch where you step in. These dark thoughts trying to break my mood and take my progression. Killing demons, walking through dark rooms and taking their essence. I'm fused with the light, so I spark soon and take your concessions. Can't form the words to play with me. Twist them up like Transformers. Today's the day they leave. I'm cutting down your shady tree.